Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. So the last video that we put up, which was unfortunately a few weeks ago, we have not uploaded to this channel nearly as often as we ultimately hope to get to, doing it multiple times a week so far. We've just been able to do one kind of every so often, but I've had a change in jobs, which I'll talk about a little bit, and which will hopefully help to get us posting more videos. But the last video that we posted was Chelsea's coming out story, her experiences, and just a few different topics that she wanted to touch on in regards to her story. She did mention in that video that my experience was completely different than hers, so we decided that the next video we would do would go ahead and be my coming out story, experience, whatever you want that to look like. So if you're interested in that, just keep on watching. I guess I'll go ahead and address first that I no longer work within child welfare, which is what we've talked about quite a bit. That's how Chelsea and I met, so we unfortunately don't work together anymore, which sucks, but I mean, it's an adjustment we knew ultimately we would have to deal with. And obviously new job, new hair, that's why I went ahead and cut it, needed something different. So instead of working in child welfare with Child Protective Services like I was doing, I am actually now going to be a therapist within the school systems, which I'm super, super, super excited about. For anyone who knows me knows that mental health and helping people get through things they've gone through in their life is a really big deal to me, which is why I did go forward and get my master's in social work. Isn't this the cutest little thing ever? It's a little like, stress squishy. The girl that I've been following at my job this week, she gave it to me since I won't be following her anymore after today. I'm going to be working with elementary school age kids. My favorite historically has been the teenage years. I don't know why. I'm a very weird individual in the fact that I do like to work with teenagers, but I felt like at this point in my life, working with elementary school kids will probably be a really good change for me. But I wanted to start out first with the fact that I didn't come out until I was 28 years old. And I'm going to be 30 this month. This is my birthday month, so it's Pisces season. So I've only been out for about 2 years. And I wanted to answer a question in regards to that I have always known that I've been interested in girls. I didn't have feelings for any specific girls. I never had crushes on my friends. I never had feelings or romantic feelings towards, girls that I've known in the past, which is why I didn't, come out per se until I was 28 years old. It wasn't an issue. And I've had that asked of me too, why I never even mentioned it, or, family members saying all the times we've talked about gay marriage or homosexuality or whatever the case was, that I never said anything about it. But I think the easiest answer to that is I didn't have to. If I wasn't dating a girl, if there wasn't a girl that I had romantic, current, active feelings towards, why would I put myself through that? Everyone talks about how, when someone is gay or live within the LGBTQ community, that they make their lives harder on themselves. And I guess for me, if I wasn't going to be dating someone, then why would I even bring that up? And I know some people do. I know there are a lot of people who come out and have just liked girls but never dated girls, or vice versa. Guys who had liked guys but never dated guys, that they still came out based on the fact that they knew they had feelings of attraction towards the same sex. I didn't. So in my mind, there was no reason for me to come out. I had never had any gay friends in high school. I had very few to no gay friends in college, or that I knew of. So I didn't have any exposure to the LGBTQ community really until I got out of college and started to, meet people that I worked with who were in the LGBTQ community. It still wasn't something I actively thought about. I had kissed girls in high school. I had kissed girls in college. And I've always really appreciated the female body, and I've always known that I'm attracted to women. But it was not until I met Chelsea. I'll be the first to admit, Chelsea's the only woman I've ever been with. She's the only one I've ever dated. And obviously, God willing, at this point, she's the only girl I'll ever date. So that's kind of where I'm at in my life right now. And I didn't so much come out as I feel like I bursted out like the Kool-Aid man. I told Chelsea that analogy yesterday because I think I was 28 years old. I didn't need to go through any sort of life-altering, who should I tell, what should I say, how do I go about this, because I was so content with my choices and where I knew I was heading that I just kind of fell out flat on my face. And I'm okay with that. I don't really have any regrets about how I came out. I actually feel like I'm fairly lucky that I didn't have years and years of struggling with it. and I didn't have those, long agonizing discussions with myself or agonizing discussions with friends or family members about how to go about it, because I just kind of did it. And I know not everybody has that same luxury that I do. I was 28 years old. I had a full-time job. I was supporting myself. I lived on my own. So, of course, for those of you who may still live with parents or may still live with people who you do have to be more careful with how you plan your coming out experience. I'm just extremely lucky that I didn't have to do that. And I also had Chelsea supporting me every step of the way. I have not lost any friends that I know of. If you're a friend that I've lost and we haven't spoken and I somehow lost you and don't know about it, then obviously we weren't really that great of friends to begin with. I wouldn't say I've really lost family or anything like that. I definitely can tell that there's a shift in how I'm treated and approached, and whether or not people reach out to me to the same extent that they used to. And, holidays, I haven't been to as many holidays as I used to. It's not really a story. I know it sounds kind of weird, but I don't feel like I have really a true to heart coming out story. I just kind of came out, whether it was to friends. I did do a few friends first, and then it was my family. And I had a lot of really positive reactions. I had a lot of really confused reactions, but I really didn't have too many negative, and I'm extremely grateful for that. Even people that I know now know that I came out and don't agree with it or don't agree with my lifestyle, as people who are not within the LGBTQ community call it. They weren't necessarily negative, more maybe just a standoffish thing, which, I would almost rather that than you just flat out coming and tell me that I'm going to hell or whatever the case may be, because that's your own personal opinion. As far as my work experience goes, I've also been very lucky in that sense, because I do work for a human service field. I am a social worker and now a therapist, and a big premise of social work is being accepting and being non-judgmental and advocating for people who are within a minority. So there was not even a beat skipped when it came out that I was gay and that I am in a relationship with Chelsea, who is, a very masculine gay woman. No one at work really skipped a beat. And she did talk about some drama and things that were going on, or we have both in previous videos, so I'm not going to touch on that. Where I work now has been so amazing and so accepting. The woman who hired me for my current agency has worked with me before. She also has followed me on social media. So she, of course, knew upon moving forward with hiring me that I am in a relationship with a woman. And that wasn't a deterrent, obviously, for me to get hired, which is, really good. And with who I'm working with at the schools, the women that I have shadowed, has been very well received. So I have not had any issues with that. I'm sure that at some point, working with the kids that I'm going to be working with and in the school system, especially here in the Bible Belt, it's very, very possible that I may receive some negativity and some words said to me I may not be prepared for, because I haven't had to deal with any outright negativity. It's hard for me to make a very expansive coming out video when I've only been out for 2 years. So I'm going to kind of move forward with what was asked of me and said on Instagram. So I had 64% were not surprised and 36% were surprised. And in regards to the answers that I got for the people that were or were not surprised. So I have one person who said, "'Cause you just love who you love," and I love that. I had one that made me laugh. It said, "It was a fun, oh my gosh, more queer babes from a small town exist than I realized moment." We are in a very conservative town. We are in a swing state. There are still so many people here who believe that those who are in the LGBTQIA+ community are wrong. They're sinners. They're whatever they are. So it was nice to see somebody else who had the mentality of, there's really no telling how many people are around you every single day that are a part of a community that you also are a part of, but you're scared to talk about it. And I had one, because back in the day you were boy crazy. Okay, so I don't, and this is one of my best friends from high school. So I did always have a boyfriend throughout high school. There was only a few. I didn't have any my freshman year. My sophomore year I dated, I think 2 different people. And then my junior year, I was in a relationship for a while, and I dated someone my entire senior year. So, of course, I did date boys my entire high school career. But here's the thing. I didn't have any gay friends in high school. I didn't know anybody who was gay. I obviously now, as an adult, looking back, I do know of people who did identify as gay or lesbian while I was in high school with them, but we didn't know. We had no clue that each other existed. So I dated guys. One of my friends from college said, I can't put my finger on it, but when you told us, it just kind of made sense. And I love that because this girl that I told, we were actually, there's 3 of my girlfriends from college that we still meet every few months and we go to dinner. We're able to like keep in touch even though we've all kind of gone our different ways. And I taught all of them together. They had known of a lot of things that I had experienced prior to my relationship with Chelsea. So I just told all of them together, and it was just cute that she said it just kind of made sense. Okay, and here I've got one from someone I went to high school with. And she said, surprising just because I hadn't seen you since high school, I would never thought you would be. And I get that 100%. And again, in high school, I only dated guys. I didn't even know I could or would identify as someone in the LGBTQ community, so I didn't present myself that way in high school. Someone said, because you're a beautiful person, you deserve to be happy. Oh, thanks. You are too. You always seem to have a heart that loved people and not gender. And that one really hit me because I think that that's such an important concept that people need to realize. And also, this girl's a therapist right along with me, so we don't work together, but we've kind of gone around the same path. We worked together for years. Not surprised because in my opinion, same-sex relationships are normal. Thank you. Because love is love. Thank you. And then someone else said that they're simply not surprised by sexuality 98% of the time. And I think that's a really good mindset to get into. I'm ready for society to get to a point in just relationships where it will no longer be why? Why are you choosing that lifestyle? Why are you that way? Why do you feel those feelings? Whatever. I love and live for the day where it's just you're dating who you date. It doesn't matter why. This person said they were not surprised just because I radiate pure happiness that person knows is true, and she supports love 100%. Me too. I miss you, by the way. And then the first person that responded, and this is a girl I was friends with in elementary school, middle school, high school, and we worked together, so she has known me from 10 years old probably, and she said she was surprised because she thought I was happy when she came to my baby shower. And I'm not going to expand too much on that because, I was. So she's completely right. And I get that because when I had Lucas, Chelsea has been in Lucas's life since he was 3 months old. So there isn't a time where Lucas has not known Chelsea, and there will never be a time where he doesn't know Chelsea. I know that there have been questions about where my head was at or where at that time my relationship was at when Lucas was conceived because of how quickly I dated Chelsea after he was born. And I stand by the fact that babies don't fix problems, and I know they don't. And Lucas, my child, my youngest, was not conceived as a fix to a problem. And I'll set the record straight, and he was conceived out of a relationship that was trying to work. And it didn't. And that's all I'm going to say about that. At the end of these pollings, I did just a question where you could just ask whatever it is that you wanted to. So this person said that they would like for me to talk about parent support, fear of judgment, kids, and coworkers. So I've already kind of touched on the coworkers part. My parents have been extremely supportive of me as a person. They've stood by my side. We have had arguments. We've had disagreements. We've had moments where we didn't necessarily see eye to eye, but nothing beyond what I think would be expected in the situation. There hasn't been anything out of the realm of just adjusting to a situation you had no conception of until that moment. And I think my parents both accepted it as best as they knew how, and they're continuing to accept it every single day, and I thank them so much for the support that they offer in my life. They help me out both just emotionally with letting me vent and letting me talk to them about everything. They support me by still being here and still coming to see me and interacting with Chelsea and being a huge part of my kids' lives. And they also still help me out financially when I struggle. Like, they do everything for me that any parent can be expected. They go above and beyond, truly. I think that they help me more than a lot of parents would still help out their 30-year-olds, so I'm super grateful for them. I know that's not the case for everybody, and it breaks my heart for anyone who's going through this type of situation, because I came out at 28. I cannot imagine what someone who is 12, 13, 14 going through this, knowing that their parents aren't going to agree with it and could even potentially kick them out. And my heart goes out to you. If you're one who's struggling with that, I hope more than anything that you have someone in your life that you can talk to and be your true self with, because it's not always safe for someone to come out, and that's okay. You have to, above all else, yes, people say you have to be true to yourself, and you do at a point in your life where you're able to do that. If you're not in a situation where you're not safe to come out, then don't do it, because you're just going to put yourself at risk. Do what you need to do to live your life, and then when you are able to be your true self while also being able to support yourself, or you have someone who is willing to support you while you make that transition, then do so. But don't do it until you're ready. There's no right time. There's this book called This Book is Gay, and it's a rainbow book. Me and Chelsea bought it about a year ago, and it actually has a little pie chart of like at what ages the more percent of people come out, and there is a percentage of people who come out, you know, from 25 to 40, and then even in their 60s plus. So while the majority of people do come out in their teenage years and early 20s, there is still a substantial amount of people who come out later in life. And I've been lucky enough to, with my social media pages, I specifically follow people who came out after 30, who came out after divorces, who came out after having kids. And I think that it's just something that it happens. And I know some people say girls will date girls after they've been in a bad relationship just because they don't want to deal with men anymore. And if that's true, so what? So what? That's their decision. And I think everyone just needs to get to a point where they're more respecting of people's decisions, because if you're not paying my bills and if you are not a person I have to deal with every single day, then it's really not your decision to decide if what I'm doing is right. Yes, in the Bible, there are pieces that have been interpreted to be against gay marriage and homosexuality, but nowhere in the Bible does it say, so this is wrong, therefore you should treat these people wrong. You need to go out and pick at them and bash them and be rude to them and be mean to them and make them feel unsafe. Last time I checked, there's nowhere in the Bible that says that. So I did have one person ask, how did your family react? Were they surprised, or did they have an idea? Again, I've kind of already touched on this, but they did have no idea. And that's even my brother, who was probably the most initially supportive. He said, you know, when we had watched TV and things in the past, I had never made comments or made reactions or said anything that led him to believe that. But he initially was just like, as long as she's happy. And I think that my parents got there, but I do think it was definitely a shock. Was this the first time in your life you had feelings for women, or had you had them before? I had, like I said earlier, I don't want to say I had feelings for women before, because I can honestly say there was never a friend of mine that I had a crush on, or anybody that I spent an ample amount of time with that I was like, oh yeah, like that's someone I want to date. It was truly not until I met Chelsea that there was a woman in my life. I had decided I could date this woman. I could be in a relationship with this woman. Like, I think there's a difference between being attracted to a woman and having feelings for a woman. Chelsea's the first woman I've ever had feelings for, while I have been attracted to other women. Someone said, why are you two so amazing? Oh, you're the best. We try. And then someone else said, your happiness is all that matters. So all in all, with the questions and things that I got, it was just so sweet. And I have had so many people, you guys. I've had more support than not support. And I feel like I've been all over the place. So if you have any questions or comments or want me to clarify anything, like leave a comment down below. I'm more than happy to film a follow-up with this. But I have actually had moms of boys that I had dated in the past reach out to me and just be so sweet and supportive. One of my best friend's moms, she talks to me on almost a daily basis, and she has been so supportive and told me, like, if there's anything I need, I always have her. I'm still friends with my best friends that I've had for years and years and years. Like I said, there's no one that I know of that I've lost. And if I have lost you, then obviously I don't know it, and then obviously you were expendable to me anyway, and I hate to say that, but I'm so lucky. I try hard not to take the experience that I've had for granted, because I know that so many people have a different reaction than I did. And I just want to say thank you to everyone who has stood by me and who has accepted this transition within my life with such grace and such love, and have just kept their arms open to me, and if their arms weren't open before, have made their arms open to me and reached back out to me, people I haven't spoken to in years, and just reminded me that they're there. And I hope that I can carry that on into my life and just remember that there may be people who need me, that I haven't spoken to, and I try to live my life as someone who is very open and very honest, and it has come back to bite me in the butt before, and I'll admit that. But in my mind, while it may come back to bite me in the butt in the short term, living a life of integrity and a life of honesty will always persevere over trying to pretend to be someone I'm not, or being hateful, or being bitter, or being mad at the world. I am such a happy person. I always have been. And during this ordeal, I can honestly say that there has never been a time in the last 2 years that any of my unhappiness has stemmed from the decisions that I've made and or from my pursuit of a relationship with Chelsea. It has provided me with such a sense of peace and such a sense of happiness, and I know now that the relationship that I'm currently in is so on par with the relationship I've always wanted. And it's funny because my therapist that I went to in about mid to late 2018, when I'd never been to therapy before, but there were so many changes going on in my life that it was time. And I'm not ashamed to say that. I'm a therapist who goes to therapy. I think everybody needs therapy at some point in their life. Even the happiest of people can deal with someone to talk to. And I had this conversation with this therapist, and I told her kind of what I wanted in a relationship, what my expectations were, and what I really just truly would make me feel loved. And she was actually really great, and she said, "It sounds like you want to be in a relationship with a woman." And I just kind of sat back and took that in, and I was like, I mean, she's completely right. Everything that I'm saying are things that women do. And that's not to say that there aren't men out there that are, emotional and have the memory to remember certain things and just do those random acts of kindness like women do, but traditionally women are the more emotional beings. So if I'm someone who wants those things done for me, it makes sense and it clicks. And I got so frustrated for a long time in talking to people when I would express myself and say, like, these are things I want. These are things in a relationship that I need, such as, flowers every so often, and just random acts of giving, or going on random little dates and random little trips and day trips and whatever. And so many people had the nerve to tell me, well, that's just gravy. If you have someone who works hard and does what they need to do, like, that should be enough. And it can be. And there are some people out there that have that, and that's great. And if that's what makes you feel fulfilled, then absolutely. But my thing is, if I want the gravy, I want the gravy. And I just thought that was I basically felt like I was being told by several people, like, you're being too picky. If someone who works hard isn't enough for you, then you're just needy. And I do not agree with that, because I have never expected anything out of a relationship that I wouldn't also freely give. I do random acts of kindness. I plan trips. I plan get-togethers. I make sure we have date nights. I do all of those things. So to me, it wasn't unrealistic, as someone with a full-time job who's also parenting children, who also, has other obligations, for me to still actively show love to my significant other on a daily basis. And Chelsea and I do that. So that's just my little soapbox for the day, is don't ever let anybody tell you that you want too much out of a relationship, because there's going to be someone out there willing to give it to you. You just have to wait for it. So I think that's really all I have to say. I know I kind of went all over the place. If you have any more questions for me, reach out to me on social media. I love to have conversations about this with people. It does not offend me when people ask questions. You can quickly tell the people who truly want to know versus the people who have ulterior motives. So my inbox is always open. Leave comments, leave questions. If there's anything else you'd like to know, I will say that being a part of this community has been extremely fulfilling. And it's just, I respect so much the people who knew earlier than I did, because frankly, I just feel like I wasted so many years just not actively pursuing relationships that could have fulfilled me in a totally different way. They'd had some good relationships, do not get me wrong. So if any of the guys I've dated have watched this, I'm not necessarily saying that you weren't a good significant other, because it's not true. I've dated some really, really good guys. And I'm actually jealous of people who knew, who they were so much earlier on in life, because I feel like I could have really saved myself some heartache and saved myself some years of not being who I fully was, even though I didn't know I wasn't being who I fully was. Does that make sense? I feel like there's got to be some other people out in this world who have had a similar experience as I have, and if you are, like, reach out to me. I want to talk to you. And I've made so many friends throughout this process. I have met some amazing people. I've rekindled some friendships, but also some people that I maybe have known for years and years and years, and didn't have any sort of friendship with, I do now. And it's just such a cool feeling. I love this point in my life where the only people in my life are people of substance and people who have nothing but love for me. And I truly, truly want people to know that whatever it is you're going through, whatever it is you're struggling with, it will get better. The past 2 years have been a roller coaster of emotion for me, but I am the happiest I've ever been. And I get told that regularly. It makes me so happy when I have people reach out to me and tell me that I'm glowing, and reach out to me and tell me that I see more myself than I ever have, or that I'm more in line with who they remember me being when I was younger. And it's just such a cool feeling, and I love it. Don't ever be upset to reach out to me and tell me I look happy. If you see someone looking happy, tell them. It is the best compliment you can get in the world. So I'm going to kind of quit my ramble. This has been a totally off the wall rambling video, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope I answered some questions. If you need anything from me, if you need a shoulder to cry on, if you need a person to vent to, if you have any more questions, if you want to pry into my life, I'm an open book. I probably shouldn't be sometimes, but it is what it is. I'm going to live my life. But thanks for being here. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the like button and let me know what video you would like us to do next. Now that we've gotten both of our coming out videos out of the way, I don't really know what we should do next. So if you have any ideas, leave them below. Thanks, guys.